Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. It is press conference reaction. We're going to be going through David Moyes' press conference. But first, you know that we are partners with Liverpool John Lennon Airport for this season. And we're doing a giveaway, aren't we? But before we do that, if you want a real cultural experience unlike anything you'll find in Europe, or you just want to try somewhere different, then why not give Marrakesh a try? In 2026, you can fly direct from Liverpool John Lennon Airport to Marrakesh with both EasyJet and Ryanair. Flights are on sale now at easyjet.com and ryanair.com, so get it sorted. However, we are giving away 2 return flights from Liverpool John Lennon Airport to Marrakesh in partnership with Liverpool John Lennon Airport. We've been doing a competition. I've been giving you 1 word per week. Now, a few of you said they didn't hear the word last week. The word last week was blue. Okay? Now, I'm looking out for the final word to go with the other. You're going to have 4 words, essentially. You're going to have to stay tuned for the final word today. I'll give it out at some stage today. There's a link going to be in the comment section and in the description for you if you want to enter the competition. Basically, you just follow the link, fill it all your details in, including your email address, and they will go into the draw, which will be done by Liverpool John Lennon Airport. But more on that in a bit later. So, David Moyes has done his pre-match press conference ahead of Everton's trip to St James's Park tomorrow against Newcastle United. Tough game, John. You'll be there. It's a very, very tough one, but the last couple of seasons we drew up there, we won up there last season. But Everton probably need the result tomorrow, given they've lost the last couple of games at home.
We do.
And we're up against the team who've drawn Barcelona today in the Champions League, so their fans will be buzzing about that one. But this is going to be a difficult one, isn't it, tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's a one-club city, and therefore the place is always full. And they're not the quietest fans in the world, are they?
No.
And we in the away end will be in a different postcode, I think. You know, up in
the gods,
up in the gods, in the Lees End or whatever it's called. But we've done it before, and we can do it again. I think we need to maintain, because of the shit home form, we've got to maintain the away form, and we don't lose away very often. And I think David probably right now, this second, would be quite happy with a draw, and I think I would be happy with the draw, and I'd be dead chuffed if we win. Perversely, and I am half full, as you all know, if we lost, I wouldn't be surprised. So all outcomes are possible. Yeah,
it's a frustrating one because it's a game where obviously there's just a point between the two teams right now. So if we can get out of it unbeaten as a starting point, then we don't lose any ground on Newcastle. A win would be incredible, but it is such a tough place to go. Their fans are really loud and they get on top of you and all that. I mean, but Everton, you've just pointed out, Everton are very good away from home. They've only lost, once away from home since October, which was at Chelsea. So again, tomorrow, you never know what's going to happen. But the size of the task is we're going to have to quieten them a little bit if we can. And we're not going to be able to get caught up the pitch because they do have quick plays. They've done it to us at Hill Dickinson. They caught us high up the pitch and took us apart.
I mean, this is the first of 4 consecutive home games for them.
Is it? Yeah.
Because they've got us. Then in the week, home to Man United. Then the weekend, home to Man City
in the FA
Cup.
Course, yeah.
And then home to Barcelona the following week. Oh, sorry, the week after next.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Games in relatively short, 4 games in 10 days, that is. So it'll be interesting to see if Mr. Howe plays his best team as well. What does he do? How, I don't mean he's going to, sacrifice it because you can't at home, can you? But he may put out a team he thinks can get a result, and we may find out or teach him that that's not what's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see their team selections and, of course, ours, because of, we are going to sit on the edge of our box if we've got 4 centre-backs. Because we can't drift too far. because they have got pace, and Anthony Gordon will revel in the space he might get. So let's see.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is. But they are in the league for a reason, aren't they? Where they are in the league.
Yeah, of course. They're below Everton, so
yeah,
you can go on about. And we've just had a lively debate about squads.
Yeah, with the next player.
Yeah. But it's about getting results, isn't it? And that's what it's about. And can you do it? That's it. Journalist and Evertonian Patrick Ridge has done an article today for More Than a Game Substack, if you want to go and check that out. But looking at the race for Europe and using, it's obviously Opta, and looking at fixtures and points, basically mid-50s, 55 points is probably going to get you European football this season.
Yeah.
And then Patrick says 55 points and above will probably get you 7th place. And 52 and 54 could easily get you 8th place, which if a top 16 wins the FA Cup, that's what Conference League football will look like. So,
yes.
For Everton, that's still 16 points out of 11 games, out of the 33 to remain, half points.
Our run rate's got us at 52 points. Your expectation was 50 to 55, which that ex-player thinks is way too high. And I was at 55 to 60.
But that's not.
Yeah. It's hyper, isn't he?
Yeah.
So all to play for is what you're really saying. And one atypical result, which is likely for us to come, in form terms and alleged squad, who's got better squads and all those sorts of things. And Newcastle can be one of those, because on paper, they should beat us. Forget their league position. They clearly have more better players than we have, which is what he was going on about, really. He's looking at squads on paper and saying, these are all the clubs that should be above you, therefore you should be further down. But that's not how this league's playing out this season, is it? No. So it's an interesting one. And I'm just looking at Newcastle's home form in the league. They haven't won for a while at home. They haven't been playing for a while at home. And I know you would react like that, because that's what we do, isn't it? But the manager's under pressure. And he does need something out of this game.
Is he under pressure?
I think he should be, yeah.
Yeah, but is he, though, realistically? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I haven't seen his press conference, but if he reacts to, if he got any pointed questions and reacted a bit, me no happy, maybe that's an indication.
Well, I watched this press conference and he wasn't happy with a couple of the questions, but a lot of managers react like that, don't they? A lot of managers aren't pleased with questions unless the questions are just passing it to an open goal for him to knock it in. He was asked about playing players out of position. He didn't really like the question. He asked Vinny to repeat it because he said, don't understand it. It was Vinny. He said, don't understand it. He tried to justify. I understood what he was saying. Harrison Armstrong doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it, but I understood what he was saying about, I want him to play and get him minutes, and he's playing wide rather than me putting him in the middle where it's too, he's a young player learning. I understood the point of it, but I don't necessarily agree with it.
That's about risk, isn't it?
I didn't get Jared Brantwaite one. He sort of, I don't think he meant it like this, because I think he just meant Brantwaite can play left back if he needs to be. He sort of referenced young centre-backs having to play full-back before they get up to... I don't get that, because Brantwaite's one of the best centre-backs in the country. Already. So that, to me, made no sense. He should have just left it he's played left-back because he's comfortable there. That's why I played him.
Sure.
Now, if he wanted to say, Michalenko, in my opinion, Michalenko hasn't been playing well enough, so I've changed it to freshen both of them up.
Fair dues.
Michalenko can't go, hang on, Gaffer, what's the... not that he'd say that, but you know what I mean. Because that's the manager's opinion. You've been left out for a reason. If you're the best player on the park, you ain't getting dropped, are you?
That's right.
No matter what, you're not getting left out. So don't cover it in... You don't have to have kid gloves on, just go. If they've asked me it, and And I'm thinking, well, I've played Branthwaite there because Michalenko's not playing well enough. I'd have said, I made the decision to play Jared Branthwaite there.
Yes.
For the good of the team.
Yes, which is perfectly acceptable.
End off.
Yeah, totally
He's
agree.
comfortable there,
Totally
so I
agree.
wanted to play him there.
Mm.
End off.
So my question to you would be, why didn't he answer it that way then?
I don't know. Because you still, I guess you're still trying to sort of go, you don't want the players to negatively react. If that, do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. That one I just didn't get. I didn't get the reference, because if Branthwaite was a young player just coming through, I would have sort of gone, oh, fair enough. You know, like Jake had never played in the Premier League till Moyes put him in. Yeah. So I sort of understood when he said it last time, trying to make sure he's up to, knows the level before I'd throw him where it's even more, risky. But not with Branthwaite.
Well, old school David Moyes would adhere to this, which is why when you're right, I think you can't use this what I'm about to say against Jared Branthwaite, because he's an established Premier League centre-back, played for England, all that sort of stuff. But he would introduce centre-backs in safer positions, i.e. full-back, wouldn't he? I always, only because of what he turned out to be, but I always remember Roberto Martinez telling me at a dinner that when he turned up, John Stones was fourth choice right back. Now whether it was true or not, it was, but that's how David would perhaps have introduced him to minutes. And I've had a reasonable amount of comfort with him being the manager, playing Jared out there, because, and I said it to you before, to me it's a shortcut to match fitness as well, because you're more involved and you've got to do the overlapping physical match fitness, I think. And what I've talked about Harrison, which is to his credit, the managers put him in different positions, either to see how he deals with them, or perhaps based on what he said today, I want to play him, right? And in his preferred position, we have better players. Therefore, I'll play him somewhere else. Now, that then questions, what kind of role do you want Harrison Armstrong to do, wide left or wide right? And it clearly isn't as an attacking forward.
No.
So that's back to his cautious gene again, right? Which then leads inevitably, can't talk about wide plays without talking about Dibbling, that the lack of trust the manager has in Dibbling, which is why he isn't getting minutes, is clearly founded upon his lack of trust in him to do the hard yards on the defensive side.
Yeah, I mean,
because he hasn't had enough minutes to find out what he can do offensively. But he's not earning the right, is he, Dibbling? That's the point. Well, he's not earning the right. I mean,
Julia asked a really good question today. She asked about the players like Merlin Roll, Tyler Dibbling, and Adam Asnu.
Sure.
And said, essentially, like, why are they not getting minutes? And what do they have to do? Or, are they any closer to getting minutes? To which he said, some are closer than others. So I basically took that as Merlin Roll. The other two, no. I mean, Asnu clearly isn't, because he can't even get on the bench. And then Julia said, well, what do they have to do then?
Good question.
And his answer was fair enough. His answer, he just said, get better. Which is a good answer, because that's right as a footballer. If I'm a coach, and, I coach a kid's team, if someone, parent comes to me and says, how come he's never in the team? What does he need to do? So, whatever it is, work harder, improve, do this.
But you don't say, get better, does he?
But you can distill it down, can't you, to be better? You can take that whatever, can't you? You can say they're all clearly talented players, because they're all getting paid professionally to play football. And the three lads who are there have all been brought in on David Moyes' watch.
Yeah, sure.
So therefore he's okay, the three of them. So train better, maybe. Do a bit more.
I get that. And I very much don't believe in washing dirty linen in public and all that sort of stuff, right? But surely after 7 months, he can be a bit more specific about some of those players.
He doesn't have to be specific.
He doesn't have to name the player. No. But if she asks...
Because that's for us, isn't it?
Of course. She asks a good question, right? He gives an answer, so she does a supplementary, which is exploring, which is good journalism. Okay, I've got my landing point, now I'm going to drill a little bit. She hasn't said, what does Tyler Dibbling have to do or whatever. She said, what do they have to do?
But he did sort of answer and then sort of smirk like he does, which is, that's it. I've told you.
All right.
And Julia did say something like, it's as simple as that, is it? And he just sort of went,
no, be better is just so vague.
Or train better. Well, I can't. I'd have to watch it back.
Oh,
It was
okay,
3 hours ago.
Okay.
But it was. I'm sure it was get better or train a bit. It was. I don't think he did say train better though, because that would imply they don't train well enough.
That's
And I
right,
don't think it was that.
Yeah.
But it was words to that effect, and you sort of know that he's sort of going. That's it. I've told
But
you.
isn't that just then that trope, which we were on the here last time I used that word, of they're not ready? Is that what he means? It is, isn't it? They're not ready.
Well, how can we say that? I don't know. I think he has said that in the past, though. He has sort of gone.
But that's just a different way of they're not ready.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, he'd be playing them, wouldn't he?
Okay. Right.
And so it can or improve. He said. Mike just said he said improve.
Oh, okay.
But
then that obviously.
that is a word for get better, isn't it?
Yeah,
Improve.
but that would draw the question: in what way do they need to improve? But of course,
I think Julia did. I think that was again. It was 3 hours ago. So I've had the lot. I'm still processing someone saying our squad's terrible.
Yeah. The worst in the league almost. He says,
yeah, which is nonsense.
Yeah, complete nonsense. Yeah.
But it is the thing of. This is where I think it's difficult for fans, and I imagine it's difficult for the manager, because from two different sides. He's the pro. He trains with them. He's good at assessing players, doing jobs, winning things. And we're on this side of the fence where we watch a lot of football. We live and breathe it. We've all got opinions about players. Players notoriously improve by not playing. Because especially some of our fans have the men in black thing, you know. Dwight McNeil soon will be Messi for some fans because you haven't seen him, or you know, whatever it might be. Seamus will be able to run up and down for 3 hours again, even though we know can he, or it's just whatever it is, whichever one it is, better will be, you know, Lukaku in a few weeks, you know, prime Lukaku because he won't have started or whatever it may be. We all do it as fans. We all sort of go. Give him a go. At the end of the day, he lives and dies by the decision. And if he thinks Tyler Dibbling isn't any better or isn't doing enough, or Adam Asnu just isn't ready, no matter what, he's just not ready right now, but get to the summer, pre-season, friendlies, he might look better. Mail and roll. I mean, the role thing I don't understand, because he did play him and he played him the whole game of Villa, and he's not been on the pitch since for 1 second. That's the thing where I go, Dibbling, if David Moyes was sat opposite me now and said, just name me one game this season where Tyler Dibbling's come on and you thought he's played well enough, he deserves to start the next game. Can you think of any off the top of your head? I'd go, probably not. It hasn't really affected any games. Come on. Played well at Forest and played well at Burnley, I would say. Started against Brentford, taken off at half time because he was terrible. So I couldn't honestly say to the manager, oh yeah, but in that game he really affected it, or he looked quite bright.
So how does Dwight McNeil keep getting minutes?
I'm saying to you, I'm just saying David would do that, right? Yeah, but Dwight McNeil only got back in when we had no players. If Everton wouldn't have lost players, Dwight McNeil wouldn't have had a second, wouldn't have been on the bench for a lot of it, right? So
Dibbling was available, wasn't he?
Dibbling did play.
Yeah.
Dibbling was getting in before McNeil.
That's what I mean.
So the only reason why...
He did okay, so you have to give him more minutes.
Yeah, but then he played against Brentford and was poor and was taken off.
Sure.
Dwight McNeil started and was taken off. In fact, Dwight McNeil come off half-time in 2 home games.
He did.
Because he was poor, but there was not, you know, he just wasn't playing well enough. I guess Moyes would say, but Dwight McNeil's demonstrated that he's 26 as well. He's a bit older, you know. I'm just saying, for us asking the manager, he would say, well, I see them every day. He's not ready. No matter how many fans ask for it, they're not ready. If then players, as a coach, all you can do is set out what you want. And then players have to take the mantle, don't they?
Of course.
Harrison Armstrong's 19, just turned a couple of weeks ago, is playing every game. So quite clearly he's going into Finch Farm and doing what he should be doing, training as well as he can, putting himself about. Tyreek George has only been here 2 minutes. He's got on in every game. Started the game and been sub and got on in both of them. And he's 19, or 20 the other week, wasn't he, as well? So he's another sort of young player who is getting minutes where Tyler Dibbling isn't, is he? And Adam Aston, who's not, well, hasn't. He's only had FA Cup minutes, which again is a bit of a mad one, but was against the Premier League team. So I'm trying to step right back and look at both sides, going, I understand, because I'm in this corner with everybody else. I want to see. I think Dibbling should be given a go. I'd rather, right now, for form-wise, I'd rather Dibbling get a go than Beto. Beto's not affecting any game right now. No. So I'd rather see Dibbling go off Barry and go, right, let's see.
Yeah.
Aston, who I do believe should have been put on in a few games. Even if if David Moyes turned around to me and said, he can't play at left back, boss. He's not strong enough. I go, okay, try him where you'd put him against Sunderland then with the pace, where you said, well, it's not his position. But he was still bright and lively and give us something we don't have in this team. So do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But I can also see him if he's seeing them every day and they're not stepping up. But if every one of Everton's players was 26, 27, 28 and no one under 20 was playing, we could draw a line, couldn't we? And go, this manager doesn't play players under the age of whatever. But he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not an age thing.
So what is it then? That's
Position.
What I'm saying.
He is much more comfortable with players who have physicality, right? And clearly...
Jacob, put John's camera on for us, mate.
Yeah, who have physicality and therefore, central defenders, central midfield players, those sorts of things, who are, if you like, either naturally or conditioned to do the defensive work that's required of them, okay? More creative players who play a risky game, if you will, which is harder for him to trust, which is a Dibbling, as an example, maybe as Ndai, right? Particularly since he's come back from AFCON, a bit leggy and stuff like that. And your Alcarazes of this world find it harder to convince this manager that he can trust them, right? And now your outlier on that is George, right? Who's just dropped straight in. But he sort of dropped straight in almost as soon as he walked through the door, which means he's coming either with heritage, i.e., he's coming from Chelsea, therefore, blah, blah.
That's the confidence, yeah.
Yeah, or part of how we got the guy was some assurances around him playing. I don't think you tell the manager who to pick, but he will be aware we have to play this guy to make the decision in the summer about whether we want to exercise that option or not, right? To me, I think it's the manager's blind spot. It's the stuff in the 30%. Now, he's okay.
Yeah.
Our manager, more than okay, making some of these curious decisions, or we might, as fans, see as curious decisions. He might think, you just don't know what you're talking about, right? If we're winning games. But scrutiny will come upon it when we're not winning games. And as we haven't won at home forever, then naturally that brings pressure on the away performances. Because you go to the fella next door about how cack we are and we should be fighting relegation. What he's really saying, I think, is the outcomes you've got from your away games in points terms are probably more than you should have got.
Yeah.
And if your home form is really a reflection of how good you are, then you should be back where you're supposed to be, in his words, right? Fighting relegation. Now, of course, part of his justification is that as well. He was effectively saying, wasn't he? Spurs have got better players than you. They should be above you. To which we riposted and think it was you did it. Well, they're not, are they? Newcastle got better players. They're not above us.
Spurs were 17th last year. So.
Absolutely. You see what I mean? So he's got that cognitive bias of the treacherous six and all those sorts of things, right? But our manager should be under pressure because the home performances are complete and utter shit, right? And the outcomes are worse than that. Because, again, I think, there's a multiverse, isn't there, where we beat Man United 1-0 instead of them beating us 1-0. And all this sounds different, doesn't it? But the underlying performances away are far superior to at home. I think. And therefore, the fact that we've had underlying better outcomes away as we have at home is not a surprise. And the ranking position that we'll end up with if we do the run rate will be, whatever you said, Patrick's article says, might be on the periphery of Europe. And if we can pump it a little bit with a couple of wins that perhaps we shouldn't get, or are surprises, that might be beating Man City at home, or it might be winning away at Newcastle, or it might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And things
He did also say that we're going to have to win some big games.
we are going to have to win, because if you do, I mean, we've just been Champions League draws happened, hasn't it? And you know, we've sat on the sofa and we looked at Opta's stats, and Liverpool get to the semi-finals, we're out trying very hard, and then they have to beat somebody. And the same Opta will do the same stuff about the Premier League, won't it? It'll say, when Everton play Newcastle, it might say, this is 70% chance Newcastle win, 30% Everton win. Well, we have to beat that one then, don't we? Because those sort of favours in the home games against the teams we're playing are all going to favour the opposition, aren't they? So we need to get ourselves into a space where we just don't let it wither on the vine this season and say, well, you know, we ended up 13th or 14th with 53 points, whatever it turns out to be, or 49, it doesn't matter. We'd have taken that at the beginning of the season. We're not in the beginning of the season. We're halfway through. We've seen our missed opportunities. And actually, that window of opportunity is closing quite rapidly. We could be a couple of games away from, forget your ain't happening. Just, you know, it's not happening. And so all of our fans who have said we're not ready for it will have some relief. And all of our fans who think, you know what, will Spurs be as crap next year as they have been this year? Will Newcastle be coping? Will they not even be in one of the top European competitions next year, unless they win the Champions League? Probably not, right? So are we going to regress them back down the league again, simply because we are a club in transition? It can't all be fixed overnight. But you have to take your opportunity when they present themselves. And I think the manager's caution or lack of surety in his own mind about what his best starting 11 is when they're all available. I mean, Joshua, my nephew, sent this quote. I don't know if it really is a quote, because there's somebody doing it on Insta or something, where he talked about squad rotation. Well, when you start falling back on so close to the end of the season, now we've got everyone available, I can rotate the squad. But you don't use subs either. So it's a bit odd. So I'll be there tomorrow. Joshua's coming with me. And hopefully we enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
And maybe people will find a way to watch it on the telly.
Fingers
somewhere, you know.
We all will.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
So what do you think the outcome will be tomorrow? I don't mean what do you think it should be based on squad quality and stuff. Because David's best, doesn't he? I hope he's under pressure because he reacts to it. He performs better when he...
There'll be 4 centre-backs across the back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can only see Newcastle winning, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're in a place where we look like we're playing well enough at the moment. I think we look like we're in a little slump at the minute. But we went to Villa and won, and when we hadn't won at home against Brentford and we got beat by Brentford and drew with Wolves, we went to Villa and won. You know, and lost to Sunderland. A week later we go to Villa and win.
Yeah.
You know, we throw a game away against Leeds and then we go to Fulham and win.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't, we are better away. What I can say is if we give Newcastle the opportunities we give Fulham, they'll be done by half time. It'll be game over. They wasted good opportunities and we won't be able to do that. It'll have to be like Villa, I think. We'll have to perform like that where we limit them to very little and we take the few opportunities. You know, when it comes our way, we have to take the opportunity. That's how it looks like. But anything could happen. They could click and batter us like they did their own. They could be miles off it and we beat them, and they're all thinking, well, we've got 2 cup games, which are far more important.
Because their route to Europe is probably through the cups.
I think if you look at if you took squads and all those teams,
well, they should get to 8th for them.
If you look, you should be able to get to
absolutely.
7th.
Yeah,
the
7th,
miles
8th,
better on paper than Brentford.
Yeah.
They're better than us on paper. Doesn't work out
Of course
like
they
that.
are,
They're better than Fulham. They're better than... So spent the money to be like, but that's where it is. They have got good players, but they haven't got Bruno he's out till April.
Is he?
And he's a huge loss to them, but they're still a really good side, Newcastle.
Of course they are, and they've got pace.
But we're able to grind results. So we've got some good players. We just haven't got enough goals in the squad. That's the problem.
Right. Totally.
And the balance isn't. The manager at times hasn't got the balance right. At home he has. Away he's tended to get the balance of the team right, but at home he hasn't. He struggled with that all season, really, after the first few games.
So you fast forward then to the next home game, right? And then this multiverse, we got a draw at Newcastle. So you're going to play 4 centre-backs again?
Probably because he would... It's not like Michalenko gives us a really attacking outlet, is it?
No.
So probably.
I'm more concerned that we have a centre-back who, if we're more than 25 yards away from our goal, there's a problem.
Of course, yeah. I know, but it's what it then comes into what you want versus what he wants, and he's the manager. Now, he's got experience on his side. He does it professionally.
Yeah.
And also, probably more importantly, it's his job that's on the line, not yours. So he would, and I'm saying you, but I'm talking all of us. So therefore, he will go with the safety aspect only.
If he thinks, the next 2 games being a couple of draws is helpful for him.
Yeah, but he might look and go, we'll be Burnley with that, with 4 centre-backs, no problem. Mightn't he? Just because we'll always have issues with players he picks, won't we? Because we all do. You're not getting Everton teams come out and everyone's happy. It just doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. It hasn't happened for probably my whole life.
Well, that's football fans.
Everton.
That's part of opinion,
that's
isn't it?
That's what I mean.
But if you understand what's happening...
Why don't you understand then? If he said to you, what don't you understand, John?
I don't understand why Raul hasn't had any minutes at all for 5 or 6 games.
He's been garbage in training. Looked off it. Not interested.
Right, okay.
I don't know if he has. I'm saying that's the kind of thing but you're never going to get them answers.
Not that bluntness, right?
But you're never going to get.
But my view is, perhaps it's based on a professional environment where you actually confronted constraints.
You don't though. In football.
And that's
he shut you down.
Well, and that's part of it. And there's a couple of times in this chat, and I'll do it now because I think it's still valid. Is if how he talks behind the scenes, which one assumes is far more open and candid and all that sort of stuff. So if he gets that call from the big boss called Dan or whatever, so what the bleep expleads will go, Dan, mate, he's shit in training. I can't put a fella out like that type of thing. And even if Dan pushes back, well, you play him. I said, well, okay, so he doesn't do it on the pitch, but he's a model professional. Everything I see in training makes me pick him, right? And then he doesn't do it. But he's done it before. So when do you stop picking that kind of, you know what I mean? So I get all that, but I just think particularly if we have which we do, an owner who's at a distance deliberately, then the bridge between the manager and the owner is the chief exec, and the relationship between those two becomes very important, right? And if Angus, who's a bit of a football man, gets shut down when he asks questions like, I'm the boss, I'm the one who's done it, I know what happened. But that's when you get into iffy things in a summer when the owner starts saying, what are we doing? How much are we spending? Where are we spending it? All those.
You're assuming, though, the owner understands football.
He doesn't have to. Doesn't have to.
Okay. Right, okay. So I would take a non-Everton view.
Yeah.
Okay? Last season, Everton were going to get relegated with Sean Dyche. 100%.
Okay.
They were going down. Terrible. This manager come in and got you 48 points, finished 26 points above relegation or whatever it was. Incredible what he did. This season, you're in with a shout of Europe and it's March. What are you crying for? With that squad, as we've just heard.
Well, you just argued with him that he's talking shit.
I'm saying to you, no, because I'm training from but how can I take myself out of an Everton view? I can't.
No, of course.
Right, and sometimes for me, and I'm an Evertonian, and we get on and all that. Sometimes your view of us is way above where I think we are with players. And that's not right. That's not right. in my eyes, it might be right to you, there'll be Evertonians who think that we're both talking pines and Everton are the worst. Well, you see it on here. Everyone's the worst player ever until we win then.
But we have an anchor point, don't we?
So we step back and go, the owner might look and go, as long as we're mid-table, we're doing great.
You see, well...
So that's why I'm saying, I think when people go, I think the manager's under pressure. I don't think he is under pressure. I don't think he's under any pressure.
Sorry, okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, let's rewind this then, because, there's the session understanding thing, right? When I say, I'd said two things.
Yeah.
One was two. One was, I think he's under pressure, and you challenged that. And I said, well, I think he should be.
Yeah, should be is a different thing.
Okay,
but
that's what when you challenge, I said, well, okay, let's call it should be, right?
Yeah.
Then the exploration then is why? Why should he? He's doing much better than whatever, right? And we can have that debate, okay, which is fair dues. It's like a red rag to a bull saying football's not like that, right? So
I know, but
bear with, and that's where bear with, right? Because, and here's the thing, which I think the owners are going to make decisions based on business,
of course,
right? And they're probably not going to listen to football's not like that, right? So they'll want to see the evidence, or they should, and I think they will. They'll want to see the evidence about not just how have we compared to the previous time we performed, which was last season, right? But where did we think we should be when the season concludes? And that's why me and you have the anchor point. The whole world, us included, will ebb and flow with results, won't we? Right? But you started the season saying, a decent outcome with 50 to 55 points and a couple of decent runs in the cups, right? Whatever decent meant.
I'll be honest, I didn't say decent runs in the cups.
Whatever.
That, unless you're going to win it, for me, you may as well go out in the first round.
My word's decent.
Yeah. No, I just mean...
Yeah. Your idea of decent is
winning it.
It's getting
beaten in the quarters isn't a decent run to me. Okay. You've still come short.
Okay, right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a very binary thing, right?
Yeah, well, no, the points thing, I think, is excellent. Where we thought, yeah.
But that's a binary thing. That's Neville Southall. You're not trying to win it. What's the point?
Yeah.
That's really naive, but laudable.
No, it's not. It's not. For me.
Okay.
It's not, because getting beaten a semi-final, why is that a good run? What have you achieved on
money?
That? If you're drawn away, you get buttons.
So if I predicted the future for you and said, right, we know what's going to happen. Yeah. Everton are going to win the third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, get knocked out in the semi-finals to whoever. Yeah. Then that's not very good.
I'd rather go out in the third round.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think that's bizarre, right?
I think it's bizarre getting your hopes up, going to Wembley and getting beaten and failing. That's bizarre.
But that leads to some people thinking, I'm not going to semi-final in case we lose.
No,
you must get your hopes up and go.
Good cup runs, to me, is the most nonsensical thing I ever heard from anyone. It's people who were looking at it, not through football eyes. There isn't such thing as a good cup run, because you're never prepared to go, we've done great, though. But Roberto Martinez still says, we got to 2 semi-finals. That 2015-16 season was awful. It was horrific. I never look back and go, got to 2 semis, that we failed twice, massively. We were 3-1 up at City with 25 minutes to go and we got beat. We were we equalised against United and got beaten into it. Okay. It was embarrassing.
Right.
We'd have been better going out in the first round of both cup competitions and finishing 8th or 9th.
Yeah, but you see, that's a revisionism thing, right?
No, it wasn't, because at the time I said
we
were terrible.
Sorry, no, in the moment, I mean, not looking back 10, 15 years or whatever it is.
In the moment, it was bad.
But you said we were getting relegated 100% without a shadow of a doubt with Sean Dyche as the manager. My brain would say, well, we'll never know.
Of course, but I can still say it.
No, I know.
Because that was my belief.
That's right.
100%.
Well, that's fair dues, right? And that's the emotional side. Under this fella, we're bloody...
Well, we hadn't scored in 9 out of 11 games.
No need to justify, right?
That's where it was coming from.
But you then measure David Moyes' miracle performance.
No, it wasn't a miracle.
Well, you did well.
I was stepping back saying to you, someone looking from the outside.
Well, that's what we're doing.
And I hear this but we can't do it. But I hear this when I go like the overlap or whatever. And last year, people were telling me, even with Dyche, look at the players you've got, and like your fans are quiet, so why would you win game? This is what they used to say.
No, I know.
And I'm going, that's not my experience. What's going on
here? But those people see league tables, they see points, and they draw conclusions. He's just done it outside next door, hasn't he? And he listed a few players who are absolutely awful, and therefore you should be round relegation, and you and we disagree, whatever. Anyway, but we have an anchor point. Because we said, what do we think was decent? Well, let's not pick me up on the word decent, right? So decent, right? For you, it's 50 to 55. For me, it was a bit more objective in the not in the sense of you've got to improve on previous seasons. Therefore, I come up with 55 to 60, right? That means me and you are both right when it's 55, right? And I don't think that's beyond the bounds of possibility, right? So when the season's finished, and we ended up with 55 points, and we do or don't make Europe on the back of that, we will look back, and the owners from afar will go, well, when the season started, Mr. Kinnear, well, wouldn't be him, but necessarily, but you said, if we spent this money, this is what you would deliver. And what you would deliver is no threat of relegation, blah, 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 and a league placing that gives this amount of prize money, which we would then reinvest next time and do it again, type of thing, right? But in any business, and we've talked about this many times when we're doing the BWB stuff, you set a budget. So our budget would, let's do your low end of it. Our budget says 50 points.
Yeah.
And then as we go through the season, that stops being a budget, becomes a forecast. How many points do we think we're going to get? How many should we get? From where we are, Now, if you're underperforming, you're thinking, how are we going to win extra points to get to 50? If you're overperforming, can we actually deliver 55, 60, 65, and so on? And you line that up for the January window. And we had these chats, didn't we?
No, of course.
Should we invest more to push on? Whatever that means. Villa proved it, type of thing. Now, maybe we've just concluded we can't get the type of player in that window that we want, which can deliver those extra points to justify doing it in January when we may be cannibalising some of our budget for the summer when there's more choice, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'd be surprised if there's many Everton fans, hanging myself here, right, who would not think, we were all wanted a nice, quiet season, right? But we've seen how poor it is, this league, at the moment.
God,
And we've seen the results of certain games, Wolves at home, West Ham, Tottenham, whatever, right? And think, what might have been, right? And most fans can do that in most clubs. Well, if we'd beaten them or if we'd not lost
of course,
them, right? But ours is all going on the focus of being at home. That's where it's really bad. That's where it's really bad. Now we're in a situation where our remaining home games are a good number expected losses in there, to use Mr. Mashiri's phrase. Today's the 10th anniversary.
When he bought it, is it? Yeah. Wow.
10 years.
God.
Doesn't time fly when you're having fun.
Gone.
But we would look at those home fixtures and we're not going to get anything there, are we? Sort of thing. So
we normally do all right, though, in them, don't we?
Well, that's right, because David Moyes' style of management is suited to that, being the underdog, right? And underdog's just a generic phrase. And you talked about it when we were on the desk the other day, but the manager knows you should be different at home.
Well, I think that's what he's doing.
I can see that. They're our fans. We need to show.
And also, you're trying to keep the majority happier, aren't you, if you know what I mean? If 49,000 people walk out with a win, as opposed to 2,500, 3,000, you still all feel great, and that's amazing for away, but that's where you can hear them.
And we've done that.
The majority.
We've had this conversation loads of times, and if you're trying to do it as an objective review when the season's finished, what did we want? We will do one, won't we? What was it we thought was okay? Because decent's not a nice word, so it's okay now. Okay, and where we got to was okay. What's the problem? Which is sort of what you said before.
No, what I was trying to say, for clarity with the cups, is I don't say at the start of the season, I want a good cup run. I want to win the cups. Now, if we end up looking
I don't want to win cups?
No, but I'm saying I wouldn't term it like that. I don't accept if, like, I'm sat with Kinnear going, I'd love Everton to get to the quarters in both competitions and finish. I don't look at it like that. When we enter them, I want to win them. End of story.
Well,
now, if you look back and go, we were unlucky, we got beat by Arsenal,
the ultimate winners,
Arsenal in the semi-final. Of course, I go to Wembley thinking, I can beat these. Of course we will. I walked into that semi-final in 2016, 10 years ago, John, which is scandalous. Walked into that semi-final. We were terrible. We just got beat 4-0 by them. Rinsed 41 shots or something to 2.
Yeah.
Still walked in against United, who had some top players, thinking we beat these today.
No, I know.
And we could have done. Lukaku missed sitter after sitter in a game that he's normally missed a penalty in a game he would have on other days, and he'd done it against Chelsea, hadn't he? He'd sort of almost single-handedly won the Chelsea game at home with 2 great goals. And you look back and you go, that was a big opportunity that we blew, the same as we blew the City game. But when you look back at the season and you go, well, I'd give up being, I'd rather finish 16th in the league and losing 2 semis than just be 10th and go out in the first round of the Cups. I wouldn't. I'd rather us be steady every week of what we're doing, which is the bread and butter, which is where you finish anyway. The Cups are a bonus, but you should win, and we threw them away this year. Both Cups. Haven't we?
Why?
The Sunderland one was terrible penalties. He couldn't really do much about the Sunderland one. We had no players.
That's right, yeah.
That was taken out of his hands a bit, and then them penalties were
awful
crap, including James Garner's. James Garner's was the worst of the lot.
Yeah.
It's because he just scored a good pen. He should have gone right through it. It's almost it's a poor penalty, and he's the one you trust. So for him to hit such a bad one, that was the killer, wasn't it? Wolves was on the manager. It was 100% on David Moyes. There was no excuse. Seamus Coleman at left back. What's that all about? Seriously, what was that all about? Playing Seamus Coleman at left back, it was nonsense, and the way he did it and the attitude wasn't right. But we're always sort of like that in these competitions. Why are we like that? Why are we going into these cup competitions not thinking, I want to win this? The players will go, we saw Crystal Palace, and we saw that Wolves game. We saw Palace win this last year. There's an opportunity for us. And then we go out to Wolves, walk around the pitch. It's a higgledy-piggledy team. And we get knocked out. Do you know what I mean? And you look back and go, well, if you're not going to take it seriously then, like properly seriously, play all your new recruits, give Asnu a game, play it, and then at least the fans like yourself going down there that night to go, well, all right, I'd love us to play our strongest team, but I can see what he's doing. He's given the squad you know what I mean? It's a fine line. Now, there'll be a school of thought where you go and play your 100% strongest team because everybody else does the other thing in this early on. And we were a victim to our own thing. We sort of went half and half. You mixed it up, moved people out of position, and you get beat anyway by a team that made 10 changes. Do you know what I mean? So if he'd have played full strength Everton that night, we'd have probably won up. We battered them a few weeks before. We'd have probably beat them. Yeah. Then the next round you get a home, and then all of a sudden you're in the semi over 2 games, and that's maybe where he hasn't done it right this season either. Sunderland, I think you can sort of put to one side, circumstance and all that. We were unlucky, but then penalties were
if you
awful.
Do things to a plan, which is, let's say, you're not going to publicise this to your fan base, right? But prior to the season starting, the manager sits down. He obviously asks for more resources, all those sort of things. We do affordability, we prioritise positions, all those sorts of things, And the manager goes, you know what? With the squad I'm going to be left with, which we've agreed, I don't know who the players are yet, who you can get for me. I don't need, quote, to go deep into the cup competitions. I need my players resting on those weekends, right? And so I will kind of give them up. Right? If I play Mansfield and I can play the fringe players and I win, great. But if I play a Premier League club, I'm going to play the fringe players again, and if we lose, I don't care, right? But whatever a decent cup run means to individuals, next season I want decent cup runs. Because buried in my plan, which includes income and revenue, is being in all competitions for as long as you can, with the absolute minimum expectation is at least you'll get more money. And then what you do, and we've talked about this again many times, you turn to the manager and say, we are funding this player you want on an assumption we've made in our plan, notwithstanding we don't know we're going to get in these cup competitions. Yeah, it's true. But the simple model might be that if we draw anyone at home, we're going to try and beat them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? And And if we get knocked out in the FA Cup in the 5th round, and we get whatever the bloody round numbers are for the Mickey Mouse Cup or whatever, right? Then we...
Which I want to win, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Mickey Mouse or not.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because then you say, well, that delivers this amount of income, revenue, which is very important at SCR, right? For example, sold out games at the stadium, blah, blah, blah. And it all plays into ticket pricing, what you do with concessions for games at difficult times, all that sort of stuff, right? Stadium full of sub 20-year-olds is fabulous because you've made every ticket 10 quid or whatever, right? But revenue being important. And the same applies in league positions. We know we're going to get money per league position. Therefore, it's all going to be increased top line, easier compliance with SCR.
Yeah.
More money to spend on footballers.
Yeah.
Right? So, take the word decent out. We need to win, set out to win every single game.
Yeah.
Every single one. Within the bounds of the resources available. So the manager has to be able to rest players. He has to be able to rotate. Otherwise, you can't do it, can you, on every game? You literally can't.
Yeah.
You don't. The days of having 11 players who start every game and finish every game, you know. So when you talk about your resources, which are not as much as you want,
no, of course. Listen,
but you're not using the.
Of course, maybe I probably didn't articulate myself very well there, but I don't ever say that I hope I have a decent cup run, because that's me sort of going, I'll accept us getting beaten in the quarter. I won't accept it. I'll have a fucking cob on for weeks when we lose in the quarter final. Sure. Do you know what I mean? And I've said to you, I haven't thought Everton could win a trophy for years. Because when I look at, but in 2016 I did.
Sure.
Because we had a centre forward who could score goals.
Sure.
In recent times, you look at that team and go, I just don't see where. Maybe the COVID season, but we weren't there to affect it. When we had Dom playing well, we had Richarlison, we had James. You look and go, that year we were unlucky. We lost in 2 quarter-finals to United and City.
Yeah.
If we'd have got past them, and they were both at Goodison, which was frustrating, because you're thinking, imagine that with crowd, we might not have won to get there, but we might have done.
Sure.
With crowd at home, we might have beat both of them.
Yeah, of course,
City scored in the 83rd minute, I think, to beat us 2-0, and then scored the second. And United, I think, was late.
Yeah.
But you look at it and go, could Everton win the FA Cup this season? And you look at our forward players and we don't score goals. Teams who generally win them have got goals in them. So maybe once I think we've got players who I think we can easily beat anyone, maybe my view totally changes then. But I would never set out. James Graham just said, would you take a semi-final in the Conference League? Yeah, I would, because of the money and I've beaten them teams, but I still would go. It'd still break me. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it.
I can't say. I think I was just taking umbrage more with you going, I'd said a decent cup run. When I don't see decent cup runs, I see fucking win it. If you're going to, go and win it. Do you know what I mean? When you settle down, you go, yeah, but we made 7 million from that, and we made, don't know, 6 million from that.
Bizarre.
Then you go, yeah, okay.
I'm not using it.
But anyway, let me do this, because I'll forget, and I can't forget this one. Right.
2 in a row.
Right. I didn't forget. It was cut out by other people. Right.
Conspiracy theory says that they edited out.
We are running a competition giving you 2 return flights to Marrakesh with Liverpool John Lennon Airport. You'll get your VIP parking at Liverpool Airport. You'll also get to use the Aspire Lounge at Liverpool Airport as well. It's a brilliant prize. Marrakesh, fantastic place to go and visit. All you have to do is put the 4 words together. There's a link in the comments. You just go and fill that in when you've got the 4 words. Your 4th word is wings. That's it. Wings is the 4th word. I've definitely said it today. So fill that in. You have got till Sunday evening at... What's the cut-off? Midnight. Midnight Sunday. So this Sunday, 1st of March, isn't it? Midnight. So if it goes to 12:01 and you're locked out of it, your own fault. You've had lots of time.
Adjudication will take place then.
Yeah, and it's over. Liverpool John Lennon Airport will be making the draw. You just need to fill in the 4 words, give your email address as well, put your name so that they can get in touch with you, whoever wins the prize. Good luck to everybody who enters. It's a brilliant prize. Get yourself over there for some sun on your face. Fantastic. And a big thank. The third word was blue, Lou. Lou, it was blue. Okay, there you go. If you're listening on a podcast, go to the link is in the description. You can fill it in there as well. Back to football.
Can I just close out this
go on.
this bit where no, because
this was just a throwaway comment that's gone on for 27 minutes. Go on. Go on, close it up. Because I've jumped back in when I shouldn't have done. I should just let you finish. So go on,
because you keep going on about, you don't want a decent cup run, let's win it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maximum number of points you can get in the Premier League as well, 114. But you'd be happy with 50 this year.
50 to 55.
Okay, 55 then. Still less than half. Why not go for win it then?
I would like to win it, but I also know we haven't got the players to win it. Very much know, like I know we haven't got the players to win the FA Cup.
50 to 55 is a decent season.
It's better than it has been. Still not good, is it?
No,
of course I want to win it.
Yeah.
Of course I want to win it. I want to win more than 4 home games as well.
We need to. This manager needs to make sure he hasn't got the worst. Yeah.
We only
the worst 5, is it?
I think 4's the worst. I think.
Is it?
He got 5 last year, didn't we? He won 3 of them, but we got 5 last year.
Yeah.
And we've had 6, haven't we? A few times.
Is 5 the worst? You think 4 might be the worst?
I think, mind you, 5 might be the worst in Premier League history.
Yeah. Because football didn't exist before 92.
No. I mean, imagine saying before 92 Everton would win 4 home games. You'd be like, in a month.
Yeah.
Or, in 6 weeks. Because we always want to know.
Yeah.
Even when we were crap, we'd win home games. So I don't know. Chris Pearson says, thought that David's answer to Julia's question regarding playing square pegs in round holes told us all we need to know about tomorrow's lineup at Newcastle. 4 centre-backs might well be the most prudent thing to do, but please can we have something different on Tuesday? I love Moyes and realise he's hamstrung with our attacking options, but the odd shot on goal would be nice. I don't know whether he is hamstrung on attacking options, though. He has got some options. He just doesn't vary it, does he? Really, we did pay 35 million for Tyler Dibling. Never gets near it. So he has got some options. Tyreek George is there. He's got...
The training photos are all Tyreek George.
So, we'll see.
But someone will leak the team in the morning, so we'll know what it is.
Yeah. Max says, love Moyes, but what he said about Branthwaite and Armstrong being just as comfortable at left back and left midfield has me a bit baffled. Jez says, pretty disappointed to hear him answer a clear question about players playing out of position in such an obtuse way. Either he's saying he's stupid or he's saying we are. Frankly, he should have worked out a better way to answer this. Ben says absolutely ridiculous from him implying Branthwaite has to play left back to make his way into the team. He's been our best centre back for 2 or 3 years, and thinking a central midfielder should be eased in onto the wing in this day and age is just as bad. Don't see it happening at any other club. Keith says, afternoon all. I've noticed the previous comments regarding Jarrad Branthwaite and Harrison Armstrong, so won't repeat them. But the most telling comment by David Moyes, that was a mad one, says we don't have a right back. We've needed a right back. And yet Patterson played all right. He says, don't we have a Scottish international right back on our books? If he doesn't think he exists, why wasn't he allowed to leave in January? What's your take on that?
Same reason Asnu didn't leave in January. The manager is struggling to decide what to do, in my view. And responses like that are symptoms. That's an excuse.
It is a bit weird.
It's an excuse.
I do find it weird, though. Patterson's played and done okay. And then he did come out today and say we've wanted a right back all summer.
Well, that's true.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But we do have a right back. But then he talked about playing James Garner, because I think Julia asked him about that. Was it out of necessity to play him right back, and are you losing something from the midfield? And he could have gone, well, no, because it's well covered in midfield. But he did say to Julia, yeah, we are losing something when we move him out of midfield to right back, but we've needed. And it's like, well, yeah, we do have a Scottish international who can play there. So James Garner could have stayed in his proper position, and Patterson could have played like he has done in the past. Unless, I don't know. I mean, maybe Patterson doesn't train. I don't know.
Because I haven't seen it, right? Did he just say we've wanted a right back and therefore people have concluded we haven't got one? Or did he actually say we haven't got
didn't. I don't think he said we haven't got one.
No, because
he said
Patterson might as well pack his bags.
He said we wanted the right back. Did he?
But context is important. If he's given that answer,
no, but he sort of
that allows you to say we haven't got one.
I might be falsely remembering now.
Okay, it's not like
I don't know whether because it was a little bit like I was listening to it thinking. Because when he said that about Garner, I was thinking, yeah, but you have got Patterson. He might have said something like, we had no choice or something like that.
Right, okay.
It might have been
which is the same thing.
Which is the same thing. And I'm thinking, if I'm Patterson, I'm thinking, hang on your door.
See,
hang on, Mr. Manager, what's happening here?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Just for a bit of sport, no pun. If this was the United States, the journalists would have gone straight back at him and said, well, why do you have Coleman and Patterson on the bench then?
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Oh, God, yeah.
Aren't they right backs? What are you doing?
Bill says, can't wait for the 4 centre-backs tomorrow. And no, Jared is not as comfortable at left-back, Davey. No, he's not, is he? He can do a job where out of necessity. But he's not. He doesn't look the same player at left-back as he does at centre-back, does he?
We had this chat.
It's mad.
We had this chat earlier this season, right? Cut through the crap. What the manager is saying is, I would rather play Jared at left back and Michael Keane at left centre back, rather than Mikel Oken at left back and Jared at left centre back. And I, who know nothing anywhere near as much as he's got experience on football, just beggar to just say I don't think that myself. I would play Jared in his best position and a specialised left back, even if he's got his failings, which we know he has, right? And I just don't get it. You naturally conclude he wants to put Keane in the team. And that's his remit. He has the authority to do that. The one sacrilege thing which never gets changed is when the manager chooses the 11, that's the 11, right? And it's just whatever. But if he's winning with his interesting choices, he's okay. If he's not, he'll get increasingly more pressure.
Bill says, I fear Davies disappearing down a Dyche stubbornness hole. Please just play the best players on form in their positions, not the names or how you can crowbar them in. Doesn't help the players or the team. Less concerned this weekend as we've been good away. It's at home, it's killing us for me. Burnley is the key game. Also, how can you look for a right back for a year and not get one in?
I think that the manager, because he has the platform weekly, whether he uses it or not, sounds to me like he maybe took advantage of that today, because I would have thought a significant contribution to why we didn't bring a right back in is him.
And I get it, if he looks and goes,
not as good as Jake O'Brien at right back.
Yeah, but that might be a real bar though, mightn't it? You might look and go, I want him, and we can't get him.
Or
and
we won't.
The other 4 you're offering me aren't as good as what he's doing. And but I'm having to pay 20 million to buy him.
Is it?
But we've gone down that route before, haven't we? Everyone going, I don't care whose money it is.
No, I don't mean that.
If you're looking and you go, I do have a bit of sympathy for that. If Everton go like that on July the 1st, and I go, that's why we didn't buy it, because look, we've got him. But you said before, and are you 100% certain, though, that we will get that? Because I'm not. No. I'm not. I do understand, man. If you look and go, Baziard, there's 2 right-backs here. There's James O'Brien, who you really want, but they won't let him go. I think we might get him in the summer, but they won't let him go.
Sure.
Or there's Ped, who is a capable right-back, going to cost us 20 million quid. And I go, so James O'Brien might be 23 million in the summer. Ped's going to cost me 20 and we'll do a job. But actually, he's not better than John. There, even though John's not a specialist there. So I've got to pay...
That's perfectly
fine. I've got to pay 20 million to get someone who, in my opinion, isn't either... If he is better than you, you can split a hair, or he's not. So I'll wait for James in the summer. I understand it if it's that.
So do I.
But if it's ones who you look and go, yeah, but he makes this team's balance so much better. Yeah. And yet he's still going, I'd rather Jake played there. That's a bit mad to me. But it's not. It's like, I think David Earl said, I'm not bothered whether Moyes believes some players can play out of position or not, or age. but the team isn't working. If it was
Absolutely
working,
right.
we could all cry, couldn't we? We'd all go,
That's a bit odd.
Harrison Armstrong's better in midfield, or Jake O'Brien's better at centre back.
Yeah.
But if you're winning games, or the team's working, you have to go, the manager's getting it.
Do what he wants when we're winning.
But he's got to accept that people will ask questions when it isn't working, because if he played everyone in their position and it was just coming up short, we aren't a stupid fan base in general, are we? We would look and go, what can he do, really? Like, that Sunderland game was really, really disappointing. If Everton would have lost 2-1, we'd have all come out the ground and gone, we had a bit of a go. You know, we equalised and Sunderland went and won it, say, late on.
Got so many injuries.
We'd have gone, what could he really do today?
Yeah.
We had 5 kids on a bench, 2 goalies, you know what I mean? We really only had Tieno Barry is the only sort of outfield sub we could bring on.
Yes.
And he brought Asney on. We'd go, his hands were tied there. What could he do? You know, it's one of them. The AFCON injury suspensions. Fucking hell. Woe is us. Wouldn't we back him because we could see he's given himself shots because he's moving people to accommodate other people when he's got specialists in the positions that aren't working. And I think that's where
he's taking
a lot of fans are going,
shoulders,
scratching heads. And we won't know, will we? That if he played Mikalenko and Patterson and he played Diblingen and Jai, or Georgian and Jai, and he played 3 flat midfield, we wouldn't know whether that's going to work much better than 4 centre-backs. But
when a manager's under pressure and starts being a bit defensive, and you know, and he has had some press conferences where he's quite relaxed. You can
he's
see
really
it
good,
yeah. But when he throws in it, again, paraphrasing, we've needed a right back since last summer. If I'm Angus Kinnear, I'm thinking, yes, mate. And we threw 27 at you, and you said no to every single one of them, yeah? Because you want this one over here for some reason who doesn't fit the profile that you asked for. Because that leads to our lack of a right back. Clearly, it's the process, it's the committee and all that sort of stuff. But if the manager's saying we've known this, that's him saying it's not my fault we haven't got one. I'm having to make do the best I can, right? Then either you're not capturing the requirement properly, or the recruitment team are crap, or the chair of the committee is not authoritative enough to say that's wishy-washy, we're not having it, all of the above. And the manager's sitting there going, it's not my fault, it's not me. So it's all them other people then. That only goes one way. That only goes to one place. That's like the classic when the players down tools, even though they're being shitbags. It's never them who all get sacked, is it? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and every club's done that, hasn't it?
Of course.
It's not just
absolutely.
It happens at every club, you see.
Absolutely. So hence why, to me, hence the article and everything, there's a big decision to make in the summer for the owners around. Now, if that turns into a power struggle, right, then you start bringing people into play, like Angus, for example, who may go, you know what, if it's you and me, mate, it ain't me.
Mr. June has said what he said. Moyes said we're short of a right back.
He's got 3.
And if that's because I remember when I was watching it, my ears pricked up, and I thought, if I'm Patterson now, not so much Seamus. I think Seamus is. I think they're trying to just keep him for the World Cup games for Ireland to give him, and he deserves that respect. But I think if I'm Patterson there, I'm thinking, and I don't know whether Nathan mightn't even listen to it, so it might just go over his head.
Someone will tell him.
But I'd be thinking, hang on, I'm a right back. I'm an international right back. I've just played games for you, and we had clean sheets. I played at Forest and I played at Villa. We had clean sheets, and I'm out the team, the first sort of opportunity. Yeah. I'm back out the side, so what are you on about?
Would you like me to rephrase that?
Or he played at Burnley and Forest, wherever he played, but he done okay, didn't he?
Let me rephrase that for you, Baz.
Come on.
The only fullback I can play is Jake O'Brien. That's the only fullback I've got. Right back, I mean, right? And if he's not available, I have to play a midfield player there. So it's not my fault. And so why do you keep putting these 2 fellas on the bench then? Because what you're saying is those 2 are only going to get on the pitch at all if you've absolutely no choice whatsoever. So put a young lad with Graham as a surname who scores goals for fun. Put him as the guy who's never going to come on.
Not as a right back, though.
No, but have him as the fella who's never going to come on. Because when the game's a bit open and you know he's got pace and he knows where the goal is, you might say, you know what, let's throw him on, see what happens. You don't end up with successive youngest ever goal scorers in the Premier League by saying he's only 16, we're not playing him, do you? He ends up on the pitch because he ends up on the pitch. Sometimes through circumstance when it's at that age. But so anyway, there's complexities there about how his thinking works.
It is a bit mad. Mark says, "Bad, you think Moyes has decided Micho's going in the summer?" He's a weird one, Mark Michalenko, because there was talk, they were talking in about October, November, and it's been really quiet. I wouldn't necessarily mean he's definitely going because it's quiet, but then the next minute, the manager who's played him through thick and thin, even when he's been injured, he's played, all of a sudden leaves him out for his best centre-back and puts his best centre-back at left-back ahead of his first choice left-back. I said this the other night.
Yeah, totally.
That's either he's just made the decision. He thinks Michalenko's not playing well enough at the moment, and it might have been a direct thing from allowing Ryan to just head one in without marking him against Bournemouth, which invariably cost us the game, really, because it gave them a way back in. And that might be a response, a frustration, that's you again, from taking you out. The other way, is it a...
But he's got a blind spot of all the Michael Keane examples.
Is it? Or is it a kick up the arse to go, well, you're messing us around over a new contract? Well, you're out the side then, mate, because this lad can play there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
it's more likely he wants to play Michael Keane.
It's an odd one.
It is. But people will think you haven't got any right backs, which is why it's Garner or O'Brien when he's available, and it appears you've got no left backs either.
It's a bit mad. The Patterson one, the Blues has just said there, when Patterson's been on the pitch this season, we've averaged 0.38 goals conceded, and the XG is 0.38. Not only is it more balanced, it's more solid than at other times. And the thing is, if I'm him, I'd feel like it was personal then. I get it. If I go into David Moyes and he goes, for me, your third or fourth choice, I go, okay, fine. No problem with that. I think when you play football, all you want's honesty.
Of course.
You don't want someone that's giving you the, Aidan McGeady with Martinez, go and he give you the Men in Black thing. You come out thinking, well, what a fella. You'd stormed in you come out smiling. I think he should have been really honest with Patterson in January and gone, you can go. I'm not going to play yet. The World Cup's coming up. You want to go to the World Cup. Scotland are there.
Sure.
It's his own country, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go on loan. These want you. You want to leave because I'm not going to play yet. Shake hands. Go, all the best, mate. And let him go. You can't, for me, you can. Keep him and just go, right, you ain't even getting a second, mate. You sit on this bench now with me. And when I've got, even when he could have almost, and I wouldn't have took it either, by the way, but he could have almost argued with Patterson and gone, Jake's been more solid for me, so he plays there. But he's just missed the game.
Yeah.
If he's suspended, so there's an opportunity to just go, he's not, but a right back's out the team. A right back go and play there. And he hasn't. And that, to me, I think is a real kick in the bollocks for Patterson. I do. I don't understand. And him and Asner, if you want them, if you want Patterson gone, aren't you better getting him somewhere where he can play games so that the team might go, actually, we'll keep you because you're really good. And if you decide Asner isn't really close, and I can only assume when he said some are close and some aren't, he meant Asner.
As close.
I imagine when he said some are and some aren't, I imagine Rolls obviously closer playing. I think Dibbling is closer than Asner, clearly, because on the bench every week.
Sure.
But Asner isn't.
So he's the one not close.
But a few teams wanted Asner.
Yeah.
Now, and you might go, well, teams who come in for him at a lower level than we wanted them to play at. But surely in playing is better. I don't know. But is he going to be pissed? He's putting pitches on his thing of him a year ago playing against Yamal for Barcelona and stuff.
Yeah.
So
with a teary
it's a bit of a frustrating thing because the lad's got a lot of potential. Are we going to turn him off the football club?
Are we going to turn off the next young player?
Or turn the next young player we go for? That's the balance.
Because the key here is, which is going to hold sway? right? Go into January, right? You make decisions. So we've got players still here who are now getting worse, frustrated because they weren't allowed. Let's say logically they weren't allowed to go, but they're not getting anywhere near minutes or even in the match day squad, right? And then when you go into the summer, say there's a fabulous young right back somewhere in Spain, right? And we give him all the lovely words about pathways and all that, and he rings Arsenal up and says, "What you reckon, lads?" And he goes, "This manager doesn't like young players." End off. It's not true.
But that's how it looks, yeah.
But that's how it looks, and that's why I can see it's positions rather than age. And you can always show Harrison as Armstrong as being the proof, or Tyrese George starting games as the proof that he will play the younger players. But if the perception is it's a youth thing, or an age thing, or a lack of Premier League experience thing, if he isn't going to say yes to anyone who doesn't have a Premier League experience, why don't we shut the whole bloody scouting network down? You know what I mean? So all that leads to, before we invest, we need to know who's going to have them.
Yeah.
You know? And we're doing it now, or I'm doing it now. If there's any doubt at all that this time next year David Moyes is still our manager, any player coming is going to think, well, who am I playing for? Particularly as David helps close deals. You know? And I just think, and we talked about it right at the very beginning, when he walked through the door and says, "My missus doesn't want me to work for much longer," I'm like, whoa, that's,
Lou, this is for you. George Pickford has gone back to Southport because he made the comment saying it's disappointing he got called back. But he got called back because I think they thought Mark Travers' injury might have kept him out for a good few weeks, but clearly it's improved. Yeah. But he's rejoined Southport on a short-term loan deal, so he's gone back.
I thought you were going to say George Orwell.
There you go. Not George Orwell. Hopefully he's there for us tomorrow. Tazul says, Moyes contradicts himself, bleats about experience and not being ready, but the likes of Keane and Tahi make mistakes all the time and still keep their places.
That's part of his 30%, isn't it?
Michael Churchill says, surely Roll must have a say. Oh, that's because Mark said, do you think Roll will refuse to sign for us? No. I know he might be fuming that he's not getting more games, but he possibly could. Well, he possibly could. Don't know how it would work with the obligation, but he'll just look at it as a year building, won't he, Roll? And you get fitted in the summer, full pre-season, and then go from there. So, he will get. I think he will get game time between now and the end of the season.
See, if it's an obligation, which it is, isn't it? Right? Which clearly we're going to tick. Then we must already have agreed personal terms with the player.
I know, but we'll have agreed personal terms early, and then he might be looking now going.
But the point I'm making is we get to exercise the obligation.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have a choice in the matter.
It'd be really frustrating for him, but that's the way it is. Right, that's enough from that. Make sure you fill in that Marrakesh competition. If you're interested, you need all 4 words. The link is in the comments. It's also in the description. If you're listening to this on whatever podcast supplier you listen to, the link will be in the description there. You have until midnight on Sunday night. That's Sunday, the 1st of March. 11:59 you have. 11:59 Sunday, the 1st of March.
23:59. Yeah.
Good luck to everybody who enters. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Thanks to John as well. As always, enjoy tomorrow. Hopefully the Toffees can go there and just get a positive result. A win would be absolutely fantastic.
It would, coming back with 3 points.
But if you can't win, don't lose. And keep above Newcastle and keep in that pack. Come on, you can do it, boys. Check out the match preview. Me and Ped have done. My starting 11 will be out later.
Are you doing one?
Just as a special circumstance.
One off, yeah.
So there you go.
Are we having a committee meeting about it? Or are you
possibly,
just doing
we'll see.
We'll do a committee meeting.
Right, I'm going. See you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.